Pseudo events and Boorstin's four-part definition. Pseudo events refers to the phenomenon that in modern societies many events are created with the sole aim of getting media coverage. Events are staged in a way that lend itself to media coverage. The term pseudo events was coined by Daniel Boorstin, former Librarian of Congress. The term or prefix pseudo is a Greek word and means false or pretended. Daniel Boorstin first used this concept of pseudo-events in his book The Image. Claimed that those skills in manipulating the image make images more attractive than reality. Formulated a four-part definition of his term. There's a picture of Boorstin, and that's his book The Image that I was referring to. The pseudo-event's four-part definition. The first part is that the event is not spontaneous. The event comes about because someone has planned or planted or incited the event. The event's usually, unlike legitimate or fact-based news, it's usually something exaggerated, not really like a car accident or anything that you would see in the news, because that's all proven fact-based. And picture the latest news headline. Pseudo events are planned for the purpose of being reported. Its happening is put together to support the media which is being reported, and can also benefit or hurt the person or subject that the article is focused on, depending on whether they're trying to benefit themselves, like a self-fulfillingness, or the media is trying to benefit themselves. And that's news anchors there. The third part of the four-part definition is that the pseudo-events are ambiguous or unclear. They're unclear in terms to the underlying reality of the situation, and whether it's real or true, and whether it's real is less important than whether it's newsworthy. Like I said, most of it's exaggerated stuff. Sometimes you'll find falsities in there too, but as long as it gains attention, it benefits. Like I said, it might not be a lie, but it doesn't mean that it's the truth. And the fourth part of the definition by Boorstin is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. In his book, he goes into a part where he says the hotel's 13th anniversary celebration by saying that the hotel is a distinguished institution actually makes it one. The television medium. In the late 1960s, America had entered a new era of media, the television era. TV networks started offering more news and extensive live coverage as they progressed. The medium altered Americans' perception of itself because the people could see and hear instead of just read. And there's a TV and a old school radio. Boorstin in the New Era. It's argued that Americans demand new and exciting things to be reported far too often. It's faster than such spontaneous things would realistically happen. Therefore, all these events that they're reporting are exaggerated, and this is a result of the new forms of media, the constant coverage. Continued, the media then begin to create news when none is available. They would put out stories on human interest, predictions of outcomes of recent and future events or incidents. You could take like sports as a case of that, and also staging stories. Like I said, less about the truth and more if it's newsworthy. A lot of the stories could be staged or, exaggerated. Pseudo events today. Pseudo events are more prevalent in today's media than ever. Constant stream of news, keeping views and readers entertained up to the minute. Stories about celebrities or politics are the main form of pseudo events that we see. Mainly today, one huge form of television that people love is reality television. It's one of the most popular forms of television, and it involves constant drama that's not actually prevalent. It's just scripted and staged to entertain. Now, relating this to current events, I went over actually one of the current events that we did in class. One example of a pseudo event was a story involving the Hillary Clinton emails that WikiLeaks released. WikiLeaks planned and planted the release of the emails before the Democratic nomination and before the presidential election. It was an attempt to take away voters. It was clearly staged by WikiLeaks to do so, or else the emails would have been released much earlier. The event could have been seen as ambiguous because the context of the emails was unclear and it came out sporadically. And there's WikiLeaks logo and Hillary Clinton. Another current event that could relate to it is we got the robbery of Kim Kardashian in Paris. Although most are backing Kim, some don't put it past her that it's another attempt to make headlines. It's not unfamiliar, it's happened before. No doubt something happened, but people believe that it could have been staged or exaggerated to make it a better news story. And it also could be seen as ambiguous because the information is unclear and just doesn't add up. And that is the end of my presentation. And thanks for listening. These are my sources. If you want to go through and look, I'm sure you can't see from this angle, but I posted the PowerPoint on the website too. So take a look, and thanks again.